y'all, the last 3 days we have been in Yorktown, Virginia. I was hired to do a remodel for Northside Christian Church, and we needed to take a pretty boring, big corporate space that, felt a little bit cold and make that into a BOHO haven. So here we are. This has been what we've been doing for the last 3 days. I am very pregnant, as you can see, and tired, but super excited to show y'all what we did, because if you have a hometown church that you have a low budget for and you need to be able to remodel it and do something fun and lighthearted and whimsical and bring some character in, I'm going to share some ideas and tips with you that maybe you can do at your own church or even at your office. First thing is first, y'all, just add fake plants. Above me I have 42 fake plants. My trick is I go to Hobby Lobby when they have a 50% off greenery sale. It seriously works. We have under $500 worth of plants here, which is not a lot of money, and look at the impact. We have a really tall ceiling in here that's sort of cold. It's very echoey, and the plants just kind of give us this feeling of life, and it's low maintenance, and it just lowers the ceiling to make it feel more warm and fuzzy. Behind me, I have something I've been dying to do, this little coffee cart. We took a bicycle from Walmart, literally like a Schwinn type of bicycle, and took it to a metal shop, and we said, will you cut this in half for us? And he looked at us like we're crazy, but here we are. This is a coffee cart, and it does not actually move. It's just made to look like it moves, but we've got a cabinet built here in the back, and this is a self-serve coffee bar for your church. It's so fun. This will be where the coffee, all of the canisters are, and this will be where the condiments are. And we hung a sign up here that's just made out of felt, super simple DIY, ran some string lights through, and voila, we have a coffee cart. This in front of us are just a couple of bistro tables, y'all, super inexpensive. These are called Tolex chairs. You see them everywhere. They're not super creative, but they're a really great price point. They're super durable, and they're perfect for commercial spaces because they're bulletproof and they're really inexpensive. You can get these for literally $25, $30 each. So great. And these are from World Market. Love these little bistro tables with the tile hexagon marble top. I've already gotten questions of where these came from, so that's where they're from. This is something that we've been working really hard on, and anyone can do it, y'all. Behind me, we have an interactive photo mural backdrop. This is so fun for places like a church lobby or an office. This is a place where you can have an interactive moment for Instagram. We know we all love those hashtag wall-traveled moments. So, and for churches, this is such a great, fun way to make interactive art that can go along with your sermon series, or it can be for seasonal events like Easter and Christmas. So this is an 8-foot tall by 10-foot wide primed canvas. It's called Duck Canvas, D-U-C-K. And we had an artist, Kristen Duran. Shout out to Kristen, thank you for your beautiful art. She created some imagery, and then we used that with the projector and put that on the wall, and we've been painting. So my pregnant belly and I have been on the floor painting all week, but it's exciting. So this is a perfect place for kids to have fun, for families to take photos. We're also going to be doing something fun with the sermon series, where people from the congregation, after this series on Sunday, they'll be able to come out and have an interactive moment with this, where they get to post something super special that's related to the message. And you can just kind of pretend like you're swinging. Then we have this area, which is just lounge and furniture. Now, you guys, I've talked about layering rugs before. This is it. We are layering eclectic boho rugs. Here's my trick, and everyone that's walked in has been asking me, how'd you get these? These are from Etsy. They are Turkish Oshak rugs, vintage rugs. Most of them, remember, we're on a price point because this is for a church. We're on a low budget. Most of these rugs are under $300 a piece. And by layering, I'm able to use more rugs to create more space and more floor mass, so take up more space. It also gives it this really warm boho feeling. So this is a great idea, you guys, and it makes a big impact, and it also helps with the sound, kind of the sound insulation of a very loud room that used to be very cold. These sofas are actually from a company called Article. That's a great place to get a low price point sofa that still looks really modern and cool. This sofa I think was $1,400, which is really, and it's comfortable. It is made out of a vinyl that looks like leather, so it's not real leather, which works actually really well in a commercial setting. I love, obsessed with this little side table. This is from West Elm. I think this was like $128, but it gives a nice little pop of color. Again, fake plant. Can you even tell? Nobody has to water this, y'all. Low maintenance. Now behind me, this is so exciting. I love this, and I'm really, really happy about the way this turned out. We had a desk built by a master carpenter here in Virginia named Larry Lambroff and Mark Hutchinson. This is beautiful, y'all. This is maple. We have a butcher block top, a 1x on the face of maple hardwood because what we wanted was some texture and dimension. Now we did a lower section for the elders. This is where they can sit, welcome people, talk about groups and things like that. So this is also an ADA section. An ADA height is gonna be 34 inches, no taller in any commercial setting. And then we have kind of a walk-up bar. So this is a great place, and a welcome sign. I'm so happy about the way this turned out. It really anchors the whole room and brightens it up and kind of pulls that ceiling back down. That's one of the goals in this room, was to just really try to get some ceiling height variance in here just because it's such a big open space. Now, you'll see again more plants everywhere. One other seating here, we left it very open on purpose because this is a high traffic area, especially on Sundays. So they didn't want a lot of furniture everywhere, but we have nice little pockets to lounge and have fellowship and talk and chat and have small groups and things like that. Now the last thing I'm going to show you, this is actually the doors to the sanctuary. Right before you enter, this is so easy to do, y'all. We made our own pegboard. Now Larry Lambroff and Mark Hutchinson also made this beautiful thing, but it's just 4x8 sheets of plywood, 2 together, trimmed out. They, use the right router and just to give ourselves a pattern and a platform so you just make pegs. Any master carpenter can do this. And then we have shelves that are removable. Now, check out this little detail. If we didn't route the bottom of this, see how this has a route? It would slide. See if I did this? It would slide side to side, and that could be a problem. So the way we resolve that is to give ourselves a little route, sits right there on the peg, and it's nice and tight. This is a perfect spot for interchanging things like your, the program, the tithing envelopes, all the things that something like a church or an office would have. It's a perfect way to display things, keep it really high function, like a lot of functionality and flexibility. And then of course at the top we have more plants. So that's it, you guys. We have had so much fun here. This has been a project that we were honored to get to be a part of, to serve this community, and just to be able to create some personality in a space that gets a lot of traffic and a lot of things. Like yesterday they had a funeral here, and that was really tough, and we're happy that we were able to create a space that made people feel better and made them feel some level of joy on a really hard day. And so I'm just so honored to have been here. Now, some of you guys are new subscribers because we just came out with my very first podcast on the Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey. So if you haven't heard that podcast, please go check it out. I'm gonna put the link on the bottom of this. Jamie, thank you for having me. That was such a blast, such an honor. I've heard from the most amazing women. Just feedback, and even guys, thank you for the feedback that I've heard. It's been encouraging to us. Joey and I are actually trying to buy a house right now, and it's been a tough week with that on a personal level. So your encouragement has come totally full circle. So thank you for that. Go check out the podcast if you haven't yet. We're gonna keep design content coming. I hope that you're able to apply some of these ideas to your church or your office or even to your home. Some of these are really great resources to use that are low budget and also still look very on trend and modern. So thank y'all for joining us, and we will see you next week. This is Jessica Tomcheson. She just graduated from Baylor. She's new to our team. You've seen me introduce her on Instagram. We're really tired, so it's hard to talk. What was your favorite part about the installation?
I definitely loved when the sign went up. I thought that brought it all together, and yeah, I think it turned out great.
The welcome sign. She's been working really hard on this project, so it was fun to bring you to Virginia to get to see the final thing. Yep. Now we're going to go to the pool.
what I want to do is take just a little bit of time with some guests that we have with us this morning, because they've had some experiences that relate to spiritual bondage. As I mentioned a little earlier, we were thankful that Kim Lewis, who was the producer of Extreme Makeover Home Edition, also works with tiny homes and other things that you may have seen on TV, was willing to help us in partnership with our lobby. But that's not the whole story behind Kim. She's passionate about design, but she's just as passionate and primarily passionate about finding something that she can do to please the Lord. And so we wanted to take a little bit of time to find out about a ministry that she and Joey, her husband, have been involved in. And we're going to invite Kim Lewis, Joey Peterball, and Sunny, as long as she lasts, all right? She may not last through the whole interview, but we're going to just ask them to come to the stage. So would you thank them and give them a hand as they come?
Hopefully Sunny will
Joey,
make it.
good to see you,
Second
man.
service, so we'll see.
And you are expecting another child
Yes.
very soon. So I should have mentioned that child who is a boy will be coming to the
yes.
stage as well. So,
We'll have one of each.
well, we are glad that you're here. Thank you for your work on the lobby. It's beautiful. One of the things that I always envisioned was some way to let people know that they were welcome. And I don't know how you can look at that big sign and not know you're welcome. So it meets all of my expectations, and there are just so many other things there that I know the rest of you will enjoy, and most importantly, our guests will connect with. So thank you so much. Now, as I mentioned, designing a lobby and really designing anything, design is a passion, but it is a part of your greater passion for Christ. And so, Kim, I know that you and Joey have been involved in a ministry, so could you talk with us a little bit about that and just your approach and how God uses you and has used you there?
Yes, yeah, thank you so much for having us here. On my days with Extreme Makeover Home Edition, I learned that design really can change lives. It's not just a superficial visual thing. It can go much deeper, and that the Lord can use creativity to really open us up and heal us. And so it was an honor to be here this week for sure, our family. And Joey and Sunny and the baby and I just returned from Thailand a couple weeks ago, where we served with Ratha House, the nonprofit that Larry mentioned. And they were founded by a friend of mine, and they are working to rescue specifically girls that have been rescued from trafficking and sexual exploitation all over the world: Cambodia, Thailand, and Haiti. And there's some pictures that are flashed. There they are right there, actually. That's our favorite. Joey took that photo. He's super talented, and it was definitely an honor to be there. What we're doing with this nonprofit is using design to help heal them. So these are art centers that we're designing and building and creating a space where the girls can learn how to think for themselves, how to use their imagination. We see a lot of healing and a lot of power in creativity, and the Lord is bringing them to healing. And so I've learned that design really can help people. And so it was an honor to be there and to pour into these girls. Joey, there's a rose. There it is right there on the ceiling. This is our version of a rose, and it has a very heavy wooden Thai carved piece hanging from the ceiling. Joey hung that. He can tell you about that.
I mentioned this in the first service, but that rose is hung by one knot on the rafter because the drywall was obviously not strong enough to support it. And when I was hanging the plants that you see in the rafters in the lobby, someone come up to me and said, "Make sure you tie those real tight. Make sure they don't fall on people." And I'm like, I have a much more important knot to be worrying about right now. So we'll just pray that flower stays on that ceiling.
He used his Coast Guard skills to tie a really good knot in the ceiling, which I'm grateful for. But the rose is a visual that we wanted to share today, and it's meaningful to us in the illustration that we wanted to leave with these girls. This is from Streams in the Desert, and I wanted to read this to you guys. This was from an author who took a journey to the Balkan Mountains, and he wrote, "During that memorable journey, I learned that the world's supply of rose oil comes from the Balkan Mountains. The thing that interested me the most was that roses had to be gathered during the darkest hours, with the pickers at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning. Initially," he wrote, "this practice seemed to be a relic of superstition or tradition, but as I investigated further, I learned that actual scientific tests had proved that a full 40% of the fragrance of a rose disappeared during the light of the day." So what a beautiful interpretation for us that it is also a real and unquestionable fact of human life and culture that a person's character is strengthened most during the darkest hours. And so we used this rose as a symbol in the design for the girls, that when they walk into that space, they know that they do come from a dark place. They have had really dark moments, and they have had tragedy, but that their life can be used as a symbol for the Lord, and that there's so much beauty that comes from ashes, as Isaiah tells us. And so the rose was really a big symbol in that for us. And if I may, I just wanted to share a personal story that happened to me as a God sighting. This was pre-Joey days, before I met the Peterbaugh and Sunny and all of this new, beautiful family life. I was in a dark place myself, and had been hurt in the past, and was still trying to get through that, and found myself in a really dark chapter of life. And I met the Rotha House team during that chapter, a chapter that I felt probably the least equipped of all of my life so far to be able to serve and help other people. I was invited to Cambodia, which is sort of the start of this trek with Rotha House. And I was walking. This was the day before we were going to meet the girls in Cambodia, and I was out on a beach in Vietnam and kind of walking and thinking, and I met a group of girls from Saigon, and they said, "Hey, will you come sit down with us and just chat?" They were playing a guitar with Michael Jackson, of all things, and they said, "Hey, did you know your name, Kim, means gold?" And I said, "No, I've never heard that before. I hear all the short jokes, but I've never heard that one. I've never heard that my name means Kim." And the next morning, I'm reading in my devotional, and the Lord gives me the verse, Job 23:10. It hits me over the face, and that is, "But he knows the way I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." Y'all, it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, God, I'm hearing you. You're telling me I am a daughter of your kingdom. I have inherited this. I am worthy as gold. I was in a moment where I felt like really no worthiness. I was didn't understand my own value, and surely didn't understand my value in Christ. And so I can only imagine, here I was, like 6 hours, a 6-hour van ride away from going to meet girls that have been put through things, unimaginable things that we can't even fathom, and places where they've been told that they're worthless. And so the Lord was giving me a word for them. And we stood in a circle, and I was looking at these girls, and I heard the voice that said, "You've got to tell them what I've told you this morning, Kim." I mean, over and over. "You got to tell them what I told you. You got to tell them what I told you." And so I said, "Okay, I don't know why I'm going to say this, but you girls are worth gold." And so I told them, and got a few blank stares, and didn't know if it even translated, but went home. A year and a half later, I'm sitting at dinner with the girl that started Rotha House, and I'm telling her this story because she wasn't there, and she said, "You're never going to believe this. You have no idea what you told them." I said, "No, I don't." She said, "They have grown up with a Khmer proverb that says, 'Men are gold, women are cloth.' Women are cloth." That meant like they're rags. They can be used and dried up and thrown away. That was what they've been told. Men are gold, women are rags. You flipped that on its head for them, and you told them they're gold. And I said, "I didn't tell them that. The Lord told me to tell them that. It's all him. He gave me." So at the moment when I was the least equipped to help be part of an army to help rescue someone, he gave me a word, and I just said it. And so there's a song that I hear on the radio, and I'm sure you guys have heard it, "Rescue" by Lauren Daigle. And I wanted to read it out loud because I believe that there's probably people in the congregation that need to hear this. And I can't help but when I hear this, that I think of the girls. And I know that the girls we met, our family met and served, are in a safe place. And they've been rescued. And they will continue going through the moments of healing. But there are so many more people out there that need to be rescued. It says, "You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you." And so I just wanted to encourage what we learned in Thailand and what we continue to see from art and healing therapy of design is that we're never too lost for the Lord to find us. I think there's so many things that can burden us and keep us captive, whether it's a pain that someone has inflicted on you or whether it's your own addiction or your own our sinful nature we all have. If it's keeping you in captivity, you're never too far. I've heard people say, "I'm just too far for God to save me at this point." We're never too far. And I've learned and seen that he loves us so much that we truly are the one sheep that he leaves the 99 for. he sends an army. So whether you're part of the army or whether you need to be freed, the Lord loves you, and that's the message that I feel like he gave us, and that we're here. Yes, we got to redesign the lobby, but I hope that when people walk in, they feel that love. So,
And if you feel like being part of the army is impossible and like trying to figure out how to get out and go do that and take off work and like the finances of it and the time of it, don't even worry about it, because I did. And I just kept taking a step forward. And then like next thing I knew, our finances were fine with it. Our bosses were fine with it. Everybody, all the other dozen people that came with it were okay with it. And next thing we knew, we were in Thailand designing. So if you wanted to be a part of something like this, just keep stepping forward instead of worrying about like the bad things that could happen.
Such a good point. The Lord makes a way for sure. So that's what we learned.
Kim, there's outside of what Joey just mentioned, there's a way that we're all going to be asked or invited to participate just in this process of being free from spiritual bondage or spiritual chains that we all deal with, and also something that will help us take this lesson with us and carry it through into our lives. And you're going to show us how we're going to participate with the lobby and interact with the lobby this morning.
Yes, yeah, we have an activity we would love for you to join us as a celebration and also as just a tangible message to take away. I'm certain there's something that we all in here need to surrender today to the Lord, whether it's anxiety, an addiction, or something that you feel burdened by that the Lord could lift off of you. We have Post-its that are shaped like a leaf, and the ushers are going to send these around. I would just encourage you to write something on here that you need to give to the Lord. We're entering a season, even though it doesn't feel like it. We live in Texas and it's super hot still. We're entering a season where fall is about to happen. And what we all love about fall is that the trees will turn and the trees will eventually fall, the leaves will fall off the trees. And so I love the image of, we have a mural outside, and this leaf, if you can just put it on the mural and as a signature that you're surrendering whatever that is to the Lord so that it will fall from the tree and free you at the right time, at the time that the Lord has for that season. So if you'll just do that with us, this is a very personal thing. It's just for you and the Lord, and that's our interactive thing that we'd love to celebrate the lobby with you afterwards. Sonny, you did great.
Thank you, Kim. We have one more thing. And by the way, if you're ever looking for a way to repurpose your communion cups, this works really well, doesn't it? So the children love them.
Send them to your children.
Send them to your children. The one thing we want to do, we have an individual in our church family. Her name is Joy Dudley, and Joy works with a ministry that we support and partner with called the Virginia Beach Justice Initiative. The Justice Initiative has many components, but two of the things that I always am thankful for is a mentoring process where they take those that have been caught up in trafficking and they have people who become coaches for them, mentors, and walk alongside them and help them as they come out of that lifestyle. And the other is the justice piece, and that is that there are laws on the book that ought to prevent some of the things that are taking place, but they're just not enforced. And there are other laws that can be put on the books that can help protect those that might be trafficked and bring those that actually do the trafficking to justice. And so if you're interested in any of the information on that ministry, you can ask Joy. But Joy, thanks for coming. I asked Joy if she would come this morning and pray over Kim and Joy and Sonny in this ministry that they have around the world to those who might be in the trafficking industry, caught up in that lifestyle, and led on a path to destruction, that they would be free and that they would see the light of Christ. So, Joy, would you lead us in a time of prayer? Thank you so much. What is your role again with Virginia Beach Justice Initiative?
I'm the Victim Services Director.
Victim Services Director. Okay, thank you.
God, we just thank you for this morning, God, and just celebrating who you are and what you have done to set so many free, God. I thank you for Kim and Joey. I thank you for their hearts. I thank you for their hearts to see these young women not only set free, but also to walk through the healing, that they're bringing light into a dark place, God, into a beauty into a place of brokenness, God. And just pray for every bit of this home that was built, God. You have said that you put the lonely into a family, God. And we just thank you that you are wrapping your loving arms around each of these young women as they walk into that home, God, as they walk into the many homes that are being built, God, that they would feel your love and that they would learn to know their value and worth and who you are, God. I thank you for Kim and Joey as the next adventures come in their life, God, that you would just open doors for them, just continue to amaze them, to take them places that they'd never thought they would go. And Lord, we just thank you for people all over this globe, Lord, that we know that there are people all over this globe who are still trapped in slavery, God, today. And we just pray for light in the darkness. We just pray for that army that Kim just talked about, God, that you will send an army to find them, God. And I thank you for Kim and Joey being part of that army, God, answering that call. And we just pray that as they continue to go forward, your light would shine, that beauty would come from ashes, Lord. And we give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give them a hand. Thank you. Thank you, Ken, very much. It really is beautiful.